Like, there's actual news today that China is now requiring influencers who talk about serious topics to have a degree. This is true. This might make a good whiteboard for TikTok or some shit. So let me actually tell you guys what's going on. China is basically saying that you're either spreading misinformation or whether you're qualified to talk about something. Now, some people will say this is good, some people won't. But regardless, in China, influencers, I hate this word, now required, okay? Now, again, everyone's going to have whatever, but they're going to have to required to hold a university degree, not just any diploma, to talk about serious topics. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. In China, if you are an influencer, you are now required to have a university degree before talking about serious topics, or you will face a fine of 100,000 won. So if you are in China and you're reading about this, you can't drop out of school to become an influencer. Now, all jokes aside, there are two sides to this coin. Oh, here goes Stocky with his two sides, fence-sitting bullshit. No, I want you to hear about this. You're probably saying to yourself, good, we need that here in America. I get your point. Shouldn't have 17, 18-year-olds out there talking about economic policy and shouldn't be out there talking about, being able to do this. But is that on them or is that on the audience watching? Here's the truth. That's not on the influencer. That's on you. If you're getting your fucking financial knowledge or your fucking political take from a goddamn 18-year-old kid or some 27-year-old fucking unemployed guy that's fucking on YouTube or streaming or some shit, what are you doing? You're trying to fix the problem of people's stupidity by saying that the people that are giving the information are the problem? Now, I understand why people are big on this. Hey, you should be qualified before you can speak on something. Sure, if someone's backing you, but if you're just a person speaking, right, your mind, there shouldn't be of course, China is different. A lot of people are big on this. They like the idea of government control of people's speech and people's things. And in America, we're a little bit different. But the idea that this is how you stop speech, right? The government is telling you that unless you have a government-funded school's degree, you cannot speak on serious topics. Some people will say this is good. This will stop misinformation or disinformation. This will stop people from taking the wrong knowledge. But it's also a way of basically saying that there can't be any dissenting views. You may not think a 17-year-old is not qualified to talk about the economic state of the world or the country. But you shouldn't stop them from talking about it. If anything, the people who listen to a 17-year-old about it are probably the ones that should be more concerned about. But if you think that a government-funded college and people who get degrees from a government-funded college are the only ones that should be allowed to talk about serious topics, no one's thinking about it that way. They're only thinking, good, no more fucking 17-year-old TikTokers trying to tell us the state of the economy or what's good or bad about gun control or birth, decisions and abortion or drugs or anything like that. Women's rights, men's rights, minorities. Again, I think we're looking at it wrong. I think everybody just wants somebody to fix everything for them. Nobody wants to do the work for themselves. Nobody wants to take accountability. Also, in America, I want you to think about this. I am not an authority on anything. I know a few things and I remember them and I repeat them. I don't have a college degree. Matter of fact, I didn't get any type of degree until I was already streaming and I was in my 30s, and that was an AS degree, an associate's degree. And that was in criminal justice. So if somebody who's 22 and just got a degree from some fucking college in economics, which they probably learned in an outdated book from a professor that's been teaching the same shit over and over again for 20 years, and that's their understanding of the economy and not what's actually going on, I would say, as dumb as I am, I probably am a more of an authority on the current state of the economy than what they learned in their 20-year-old textbook or their 10-year-old textbooks from their 20-year tenured professor. People will say, you don't have a degree in economics, how can you talk on this? Same reason you bring your car to Juan, down the street, who's been working on cars for 25 years, even though he didn't get a fucking degree from the goddamn Auto Institute of America. He's never worked at fucking Midas, Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone. He never worked at fucking, Tire Kingdom. but son of a bitch been working on cars since he was 12 years old. You figure he probably knows, right? Like, it's kind of the same way. I'm not nearly that good. I'm an idiot, but like, it's the same kind of thing, right? When somebody's immersed in something on a day-to-day basis, right? It kind of helps. It helps. And so again, I understand why some people think this is a good thing, because they're trying to think all roses and sunshine and how this is a positive thing to stop, people that are unqualified for giving information out there. But you're a very slippery slope. And I know people don't like the slippery slope, Logan, but I think it's very important to remember that, because you're talking about the government controlling who gets to say what. The same people who are talking about how much Trump and what he's doing with the press right now, which is egregious in my opinion. He's trying to silence the press, and we'll go nuts about that. We'll praise this. And I'm like, no, just because it's China or just because it's influencers or whatever, you got to hold them to the same accountability. You don't want the government controlling speech. Well, it's different. If the president says that the press can't ask certain questions or be in the room, that's different than the government trying to make stop spread of misinformation and shit like that. The government trying to stop spread of information. You think that's what's happening? No, this is the same shit. Same shit. I don't want our president fucking stopping any press from having access, because I don't care. If anything, I want people that aren't mainstream lockstep boot press to cover things. That's why the mainstream media is knows it's over for them. They know it's over for them. They don't have a monopoly. They don't have a stranglehold anymore. The people who still watch them are dying. The rise of the independent content creator is the key to real information. The problem is that there's going to be a lot of misinformation in there. But wait a second. You think independent content creators are the ones that are like invented misinformation? The legacy news literally has been doing that for 100 years. Like, they literally are lock in step and bought and paid for. They've been spreading a narrative, misinformation for 100 years. At least now you have an option. The problem is people are too lazy to go fact check. They're too lazy. They want to hear what somebody says and be like, that's true. In April, the amount of people that came into the stream and told me the ports are empty almost caused me to fucking have an aneurysm on stream. Stocky, the ports are empty. And the moment I asked them, why are you saying that? They couldn't answer. They could not answer me. Oh, well, look at the tracker on this. Okay, I can see the live tracker. There's definitely a significant decrease in traffic coming in, but that's not empty. Yeah, but it's down like 70% in the past 2 weeks. Yes, that's true. That's not empty. And it's only on the West Coast, not on the East Coast. But hey, listen, maybe you're being hyperbolic, right? Stocky, the store shelves will be empty in 2 weeks. What makes you say that? What makes you say, why do you think the store shelves will be empty in 2 weeks? No answer. Or because the ports are empty, or whatever. Or because China is no imports coming from China. Chatter, how much of our food do we import from China? Silence. Silence. They don't know. That means they're just parroting something they heard from some content creator. Like 5%, less than 5% of our food. So even if the ports were empty for a week, which they weren't, and I'm not trying to say, everything that happened was good. I fucking hated the whole tariff thing. We get our food from Canada and Mexico. Why the fuck would our store shelves be empty? But that's the idea, is that people just want to hear what they're told and parrot that. And it wasn't even me telling people you shouldn't be scared or concerned or worried about how the tariffs are going to affect the economy and stuff like that. But this is just, this is what I fight against every day. And, I give information. I give the analytical or the data information, and I give my opinion on how I think it's going to affect it and stuff like that. But I encourage you guys to call me out on it if I'm wrong. Because there's sometimes that I do give misinformation, not disinformation, misinformation accidentally. And when I get called and I see it, I correct myself. If I don't see it, I go back and watch my stream. And the main reason I go back and watch my stream is so I can make sure that I'm up to date on it. Remember when I said that like 40% of Bitcoin is owned by like 30 wallets or 300 wallets or something like that? And people were like, no, motherfucker, it's 3,000 wallets. And I was like, am I incorrect about that? And I looked it up on stream and I was incorrect. And I said, you know what, guys, I was wrong. It's 3,000 wallets. It's not 30 wallets. I was misremembering, and thank you for bringing it to my attention. And then I got fucking flamed for it. So I will never admit when I'm wrong again, you fucking pieces of shit.